and welcome to Catholics Coast to Coast, where we love to just hang out. Podcast Central, lean up against the wall, enjoy the conversations that are happening at EWTN.com/podcast, because you find out new ways to approach your faith and new ways to have communication with God throughout your week. So take this with you, as we of course love to do each and every weekend, is to first and foremost check in with our Mass reading. So let's continue Year C as we are jubilant with our Word on the Word.
You know what I really love?
What?
Parables in the Bible. I love how Jesus breaks down difficult concepts and makes them so easy to understand.
Yeah, he just has a simple way of putting it. Are we talking about a parable today?
Well, there's a good parable this Sunday, but we're going to focus on the second reading. It's already kind of easy to understand. Hi, I'm Veronica, and this is Melissa. This weekend, we celebrate the 25th Sunday in Ordinary Time. We're taking a look at a reading from the first book of Timothy. In it, he talks about how we should pray for those in authority, lifting our holy hands high without anger or quarreling.
The reading says that prayer is good and acceptable to God, who desires that all men be saved and come to the knowledge of the truth, that there is one God and his Son, Jesus Christ, who gave himself as a ransom for all.
I really like this reading because it starts off with that primitive creed, and it lays out the basic fundamentals of our faith. And then it goes on to say that we should pray for all people, which makes sense, especially those in higher authority, like in the government.
Rather than argue our political ideas, we should be praying for those in office.
That's why this week, we challenge you to pray for all government officials.
And catch us next week here on The Word on the Word.
Bye.
Bye.
Great jubilant reflections as we continue Year C. That's Word on the Word, available at Podcast Central or wherever you like to stream. Just search Word on the Word and subscribe. I'm Ace McKay. As we continue with Catholics Coast to Coast, we're going to hang out with the BeatiDudes, who are answering the question, what happens when two intentional grandparents turn a simple idea into a decade-long family tradition? And I know, as someone who's been raised by grandparents and great-grandparents, Michael Green, he is celebrating Grandma and Grandpa Camp. And this is a week-long fun formation for cousin-to-cousin friendship, change their entire family culture, and of course they give us the scoop on it all with the BeatiDudes on this week's Catholics Coast to Coast.
BeatiDudes! Oh yes, BeatiDudes. Welcome to the BeatiDudes, a show for Jesus-loving men just living their best life together, walking through life with this authentic fraternity, and I am so grateful to be with my fraternity here. My name is Jeff Scheffelbein, and I love being at the tiny table with great men, so welcome to the great men here with me, Nicholas Besner.
What's going on?
Everything, and Paul Kolker.
Howdy.
Howdy, my friend. We have an amazing back-to-back set of weeks here with our guests.
I love it.
So every week for some ridiculous number of weeks, 200, almost 130 weeks,
Yeah.
we have sat here. We kind of sometimes record them back-to-back, but 130 weeks, you've enjoyed us. I know that. I can tell by the 5 stars. Do it. Punch it. I can tell that this is going really well for all of you. But every week we sit here with a different friend, celebrity, person of influence. I don't know what you even call all these people. And today we're about to set the world record for coolest BeatiDudes granddad to ever be on here. Now, I don't know if any other granddads have been on here. This is the coolest one.
That's right.
Yeah, and I can prove it. There's a book to prove it. So we're going to welcome to the show right now, who's sitting between us, Michael Green. Mike, welcome to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
That sounded like maybe not thank you so much.
That was I'm regretting every decision that has led me to this point.
I've been alive for decades, and this is what it came to? Yes, Mike, this is what it came to. They did tell you when you wrote the book we're going to talk about that you have to make a lot of sacrifices to get your name out there.
They did.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. And all joking aside, how old are you?
I am 80 years old.
That's not a joke. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
You're the oldest person to ever be with us, ever.
Wow.
On the show. On the show.
He's like, is that a compliment?
I should be able to make it through the whole show.
Well, I was thinking about this. If you fall asleep, I'm okay with that.
You wouldn't be the first person watching the show to fall asleep. Just the first guest.
First participant. Listen, you probably know this by now, but Paul is an amazing voice actor. What we'll do at that point is Nick will grab onto the back of your hair and move your head around And
Quilla Tristram.
yeah, and Paul's going to speak for you. Paul, Mike, what was it like? What was it like when the good old 50s came around and everybody had a perfect family?
Well, I was a teenager, so things were pretty good. Actually, I wasn't quite a teenager. It was a little before that, but we were skipping rocks and collecting bottles of glass to trade in for 10 cents, which nowadays is worth about $50.
I sound amazing.
Mike, we've been accused of not letting the guest speak. We're literally speaking for you.
Oh man!
Oh man, Mike, what do you got going on? You haven't laid up once. You are out there hustling. You wrote a book.
We did. Rosemary and I wrote the book. That was very important because I have to tell you a funny story.
Please.
When we first started, we decided that we would tell our story because we have this amazing relationship with our granddaughters. We have 8 of them. The oldest is 30. The youngest is 12. And we've had 2, then 4, then 6, then 4, and now 2 that come for a week and spend a week with us, just the girls and us.
Yeah.
And so we've had this amazing relationship with them, and we wanted to share our story, not because we're the only ones who've ever done this, but because we have this great relationship, and we would like people to take what we've done and make it their own. You know, we have this amazing relationship that we have with them. We go to college with them and visit. They show us their friends and around the school. In fact, when the youngest ones who live in Portland were able to come physically to the school, to the camp for the week, college girls showed up for the weekend to be with them.
Oh, cool.
So
it's fun.
It's that kind of relationship. So,
Yeah.
the first story I wrote, and then we wanted to be a one voice. So we each wrote a story, but then we worked on it together.
Yeah.
And I read the story to Rosemary and I said, "What do you think?" She said, "Well, that's not how I remember it." And that's how our journey started.
Yeah.
Love it.
And so the book is called?
The book is called Grandma and Grandpa Camp, Inspiring Stories to Strengthen Generational Bonds.
I'm going to show this off for our peeps
Yeah.
here. You don't have to be a grandparent to enjoy this either. I'm going to hold this to the wrong side. Listen, I'm just going to hold it like this. It'll come up eventually.
No.
Wrong one. Okay, this is the book. And you got some people going down the slide and into the pool here. This is an awesome picture of you and Rosemary on the back.
That's very Milli Vanilli with the pose there. I love that.
We do every year. We do a camera day, and we call it a picture day. And the kids love it. And we go to J.C. Penney's, and they love having us there.
Awesome.
And that's
You do like the family portraits at J.C. Penney.
I love that.
we do.
Yes.
Well, and that one is very special. And I'll hope that I can get through this story.
Please. We're looking right now at a picture on page 51 for those of you following along. The book isn't even out yet, but
It's in the section called "I Wear Pink for Grandma."
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about this.
So we, because we have different families and at different ages, we have to plan Grandma and Grandpa Camp, the date back early, like in January.
Okay.
So in this particular year, it's in July, and the month before we are about to have Grandma and Grandpa Camp, Rosemary gets a breast cancer diagnosis. Now, luckily, she's had it twice, and she is a survivor. She's great. It was caught early. Everything was fine. So we told the girls, but we may not be able to do Grandma and Grandpa Camp this year. And they said, no, we're coming. And if Grandma has surgery, then we're going to take care of her when she comes home. So every year we have one of the girls draw a picture on the shirt, and then we have it printed, and it's got the year on it, and it's the shirt, and that's kind of special. And every one of them has done it multiple times. That year, they had another shirt made that we didn't know about. The one you see there.
I need to look at this shirt. Survivor.
Yeah. And I wear, and they all say, "I wear pink for Grandma."
Oh my goodness.
That's powerful.
So I don't normally tell that because Rosemary has to tell it because I'm not very good at it.
You're good at it. You got stories on every one of these pages, don't you?
We do. Yeah, we just and it was interesting because all the girls also wrote something. Each one of the girls wrote something in the book. So we have a chapter where each one of them has their story. about what Grandma and Grandpa Camp meant to them.
Oh, that's powerful.
And so the parents said, well, wait, if they have a chapter, we want a chapter. So it's really the girls, and every one of them. That's another great story. We go to
This is the
Magic
alley
Time
story?
Machine.
Okay.
Yeah. And 10 years ago or more, there was an artist there by the name of Sammy, and he drew these caricatures for like $5 a piece, right?
Nice.
And then, well, that's fine. We had 4. But then 10 years later, we have 2 more that we need. He's still there. Now he wants $10.
You know,
Inflation.
That's actually why they call it the Magic Time Machine. You went back 10 years. He was just still there from the night that you had originally gone there.
He probably was. And he's just a great guy. But we had the 2 oldest ones, which we didn't have a picture of. And we wanted a picture for every one of them in the book, right? So we found a picture of the older 2 when they were little and with us, and took it, and he made another caricature for those 2.
Wow.
So, so it's just all of those kinds of different things that we've done. Pandemic, we said, girls, we can't do it during the pandemic. And they said, yes, we can. And so they came. The shirt that year had viruses all over it. and what we had to do was we had to verify that the viruses were okay for young women to be wearing. So, we had some chalk, so we did a mural on the back fence. We had neighbors put things out in the yard and did a scavenger hunt, and just did all kinds of things with them. And we've had really good friends who've, one of them is an artist. And so we spent a couple of days with her, with the girls, and they worked in the clay, and she fired it. And then we had another friend who is a pilot, and he took us a couple of years ago over to Fort Worth, and the girls actually rode in and flew a helicopter, not a real helicopter, but the training helicopter that you...
The simulator?
Simulator, there you go. Thank you. See, when you get old, you can't remember all the words.
Yeah, I was just picturing a remote control helicopter that they got inside of. Which sounds just like a helicopter.
And the chief pilot sat next with them. Which
cool.
is amazing.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So we've had a lot of great people. We do a backyard movie, and they helped build the fence in the old days. And just so many memories. And so as we wrote the book, of course, we've got 1,379 pictures for each week.
That's awesome, of course.
And so we're going back and reviewing all of those. Oh, another fun event that we do is it's a murder mystery dinner.
Yeah.
And so they raid, we get it off the internet. Everybody has their part, and they raid Grandma's closet and get dressed up for the part. And then we figure it all out. And we all guess who's going to be the loser or who's the murderer. And it's usually Grandma, but this last year, Grandpa was the murderer.
Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh. We should have seen the twist coming.
Yeah.
I liked what you first said. We're going to pick the loser. Yeah. that's actually just what the BeatiDudes does. It's you. Hey, so you wrote this, and I think what you said at the beginning was great. Like, we're not the only ones doing cool things like this, but we wanted to, capture this. But there's also a little bit of, like, inspiring other people to do this, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is about kind of the teaching, or at least, like, the get up there and go.
Yeah.
2 comments. 1, you don't look 80. You look old. I'm not going to take that away from you. I'm not.
So good at compliments.
Thanks. But he doesn't look 80 at all.
No. I mean, I would have guessed like 67 or something walking in. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. What's your secret?
Camp?
Well, my secret is that my mother's 102.
Oh, so good genes.
Yeah.
My goodness.
And she has enough, her short-term memory's not real great, but she still knows who I am, so
There you go.
good with me.
Yeah. All set. Wow.
We don't do
102.
repeat guests, but in 22 years, I'd be happy to have you back on the show.
I have to tell you, my mom had surgery a few months ago, and the doctor asked her, well, do you have a goal? And she said, well, no. He said, well, Moses lived to be 120. She said, well, then I want to be 121. And I'm thinking, I'll be 99.
Wow.
Even the confidence has got to lead to the youth.
I love it.
Have you talked, though, the part where other people do this? What about, you got to run into people that they're like struggling because they don't know how to connect to their grandkids, or they feel like there's nothing they have to offer. Have you run into that? kind of sentiment?
We have, and it's sad.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because our oldest granddaughter, when we were doing this and talking about it, she said, "Tell him it's never too late. Just invite him over for dinner." And it's just, we were we went out east to see the leaves turn, and we got there way early, so it was really pretty green. which was very pretty green. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But on the train that we were going on, one of the couples was talking about they had a couple of grandsons, and they would ride their bikes by their house all the time, but never stop in. And I didn't want to say, well, we got 8 granddaughters, and they call us all the time. And in fact, our one granddaughter, one of the things they love doing is going to tea. And so when on her 16th birthday, she asked if we would host her 16th birthday, and she and Rosemary put together a tea party. We invited her friends over, and we served the tea, and I was the waiter kind of thing. And you talk about the teas, and I said, well, the last tea was Earl Grey, and you know that Earl Grey was an English explorer, and he found these leaves in India, and that's why it's called Earl Grey. Now, the truth is, I have no idea.
But it sounds good.
But you never let that get in the way of a good story. You had me.
I was like, oh, yeah, like the Earl of Sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy who created the sandwich.
Same kind of guy.
Yeah.
This was published in a city called Coppell, Texas.
Oh, I know that place.
Yeah.
Do you ever go to St. Anne in Coppell, Texas?
We have been. In fact, I remember the Knights of Columbus. So we've been, and I was a Grand Knight, and I've been the Faithful Navigator. So I've been to a number of different parishes. And Coppell is one of them that I've been to. Been to a number. And also on Sunday morning, sometimes when we don't go to 9 o'clock Mass, and then we can go to 9:15 over at Prince of Peace, or we can go to 11, or we could go. And we ended up one afternoon at 1 o'clock at St. Mary Immaculate because we just couldn't get up.
Too much partying with the grandchildren.
When you're 80, it takes a while to get up in the morning.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So Grandma and Grandpa Camp, is there an actual physical camp, or is it just like the concept?
It's a concept.
Got it.
Yeah, they come to the house.
Yeah.
In fact, we have just 3 rules. 1 is you have fun. 2 is we have a swimming pool, so it's swimming every day. And 3 is no parents allowed. And it's funny. We had another funny story is that Lindsay, who's our second oldest, when she was about 3, her mom comes up from Austin, drops the girls off, and then stays the night and goes home on Saturday morning. And Lindsay comes out, and she sees her mom in the morning, and she starts to cry. And she says, "Honey, you love Grandma and Grandpa Camp." She says, "That's not the problem." I said, "Well, what's the problem?" She says, "You're still here."
Breaking the rules.
Unbelievable.
Breaking the rules. I think you should have BeatiDudes camp, and the 3 of us come and we have to have fun and swim. Just the 3 of us hang out with you and Rosemary.
I'm in.
Be awesome. We'll take this table out there.
Yeah.
And have another conversation.
There you go.
Yeah, and duct tape. Oh my gosh.
Go on.
The kind of things you can do with duct tape, and not besides just taping Grandpa to the floor. They they didn't do that. They didn't do that. I made that up.
Okay. It was the wall.
It was a wall. Yeah. No, they made purses. They made caps. I mean, so the craft kind of thing. They became very close friends, not just cousins. And they called one another for homework from different cities. And when our daughter here in Prosper, she finally decided what college she was going to, or university. She's in Alabama. She called her cousin first before she told her mom where I was going.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Man.
And so one of the things, when we read the girls' stories, we said, wow, we got to up our game because they really wrote a good job. And one of the things they talked about is they enjoyed the free time to get to know one another. And even the sisters said, I got a different perspective from my own sister. So they became close friends as well as cousins.
If my kids listen to this, they will duct tape my parents to the ground. My kids think it's so cool when they go to Grammy and Grandpa's house, but they also tell me that they're going over there to babysit. They're not.
No.
But maybe it's because I've said, hey, listen, your grandparents, they're getting older. So you have to take care of them. So I think maybe they've convinced themselves that they're babysitting
Maybe
my
so.
parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which if that gives them responsibility and they stop acting like hooligans, go for it.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, I like the hooligan stuff. I encourage it.
Dude, that is your DNA.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, a writer talks. It says that one of the things we have to do when they come back home is to explain to them that M&M's is not a breakfast food.
Camp is over.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a phrase here. Can you talk about this? It says, "There's no magic formula, but the magic will happen." This is on the bookmarks, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about the magic happening.
So one of the things that people wonder is, well, how do you come up with all these ideas? And you really, it's pretty simple. You just kind of treat yourself as a visitor to your own town. And there's all kinds of things that we have here and in Fort Worth. Like
go do the things that somebody visiting would do.
Exactly. And then also don't forget just to have some free time. And the one thing that I've always found is that when a group of people get together and they have a meal together, by the time the meal is over, they're all comfortable with one another. They're all friends with one another. So having meals with the girls and us is very important. It's time, and that's time. They always want to know. Tell me about the trouble that my mom and dad got into when they were little. And so there's always that kind of. So now you have this relationship. They know us. We know them. A very touching story is that my granddaughter, who's now 30, they're living in Boston for a couple of years while her husband finishes his postdoctorate at MIT. And her
it's the only reason to go to Boston, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what they thought too.
Well, it's good to go there in the fall, but just not too early.
Yeah.
That's right. These are green.
They're very green. Very
nice.
green.
That's your last name.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
Isn't that your last name?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a curse.
Yeah.
Green leaves.
Well, but we have all the E's. We
got
have
it.
multiple E's.
You got all the E's.
Exactly.
A life of ease.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So she's calling us and telling us that he wanted to be a professor, but the funds are not happening at universities, so we're trying to find a job that he'll enjoy, and she has to come back to Houston for her job. She's been working remotely for a couple of years. They got to find an apartment, and she's just kind of down. And I said to her, "Sweetheart, when I look back at my life, I can see God's footprint all over it." And so we hung up. And then we sent her a birthday card, and she called, and she thanks us for the birthday card. And she said, "Do you remember that conversation we had?" She said, "Well, Ben's got a great job. We've got this great apartment. They're moving us back to Houston. And I remember our conversation." And so, it's those kinds of things that we have that relationship with them.
That's success, brother.
Yeah.
And so you can have impact.
Yeah. So that's the whole point of our book, really, is to encourage other grandparents. We have this amazing relationship. And we're not the only ones. There are a lot of grandparents who have that relationship. But if you don't, it's not a magic formula. But if you share your time and your experiences with your grandchildren, magic will happen.
This is an awesome message.
Yeah.
Paul and Nick, do you know, do you still have all your grandparents, and did you know all your grandparents? That's my question.
Two of my grandparents are still living.
Yep, I know one of them.
And
I know two of them, actually.
Well, yes.
Your grandfather still sends me really cool emails.
Oh.
I'm on a group email about things happening in the church or the global universe.
That's awesome.
Once about every 3 months, I get a Grandpa Colker email.
I love that. Okay.
That's great.
I didn't know that.
I read them. I delete so much stuff. I'm like, here we go.
No, that's great. Yeah. So, they were, they got married in the 50s.
Yeah.
Am I getting that right? Late 50s? So, yeah, because my dad was born in 58. So, yes. And they were 21 and 19 when they got married. Sweet. And had him when they were 22 and 20.
Yeah.
And so, for me, it was kind of like growing up with grandparents that were basically like another set of parents because they were 47 when I was born. So
47's young.
Yeah, it is for grandparents especially.
Young.
For a comedian on a podcast. What about you?
My grandparents have all passed.
Yeah.
But I grew up close to all of them.
Yeah.
And
on the same plottage of land.
With one set, the other was a 10-minute drive plottage.
Because you had to go over those hills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plottage.
Drive down Besner Boulevard.
That's right.
But you're obviously very close to them because I've seen your family before, and it's something to behold.
Yeah, both of my grandpas were farmers, ranchers, had land, and all the like cousin time revolved around that, right? It was like we'd go out to my mom's parents for Christmas Day, but then we'd also like either spend the night or come back the next day for like the annual family like cookout, burgers, hot dogs, play, spotlight tag and stuff like that. Flashlight tag. Yeah.
My grandparents, 2 of them I never knew on my mom's side. But on my dad's side, off and on, I would see them a lot growing up. They were very far away. They were New York and we were Virginia, Minnesota here. But as an adult, after I finished working at Frito-Lay, I moved to New York and I kept my car at their house and I stayed with them for several weeks before I started staying in the city. But it was always my respite was to go up there. And I thank God that I had these moments where I would just sit there and watch Everybody Loves Raymond in the afternoon with my grandparents. And I'm like, this is awesome. And it reminds me like even the most hardened criminals always love their mama. I think people, generally speaking, as long as their grandparents are like normal humans, generally speaking, they really have that like return to this youthful innocence, like this desire to just be, right?
Yeah.
I loved just being around my grandparents. So it's interesting to miss them. My dad, they were up in New York, and so they have bears up there. And my grandfather, he sat me down on the back porch and explained to me, he's like, you see all these, like where the bears would be out in this forest? And I said, yeah. And he goes, what would they be without the bees? And he said, just a bunch of ears.
There it is.
After the Gladiator joke, I'm always on it.
After Gladiator, I knew it was fake. I knew it. Couldn't.
Today I Googled grandpa jokes.
In your board meeting?
You were that bored.
That's right.
Yeah.
At my board meeting. Oh, I got nervous telling that one.
But it's funny because I don't know a grandparent that if you're on an airplane with somebody that's a grandparent, by the time you land, you have seen pictures of their grandchildren, right?
That's right.
There's no question.
100%.
And every grandparent, whether they have this great relationship or not, love their grandchildren and love to tell everybody about their grandchildren. They're the smartest, beautifulest young people that you've ever met, and better than any other person that they know.
Michael, you're a man of strong faith. I got to believe that being close to these grandkids has helped them too, because the journey's hard. The journey has lots of, the age of your grandkids, like the pressures and social media and the ridiculous stuff that they're told and sold. Like, I have to believe, whether we can prove it or not, that what you and Rosemary are doing for these grandkids is helping them to stay grounded in something real and not fall for all the hoo-nanny.
It's interesting when we go to visit them at college. They're in a Newman Club, and so we'll go to Mass with them and support them. And, they take us to Mass.
It's awesome.
And then we have another granddaughter, and she's Baptist, and so we go with her.
Yeah.
And a funny story, as we're walking in, and I know I've been to a Protestant service before where you can take your coffee in, and so we get there, and there's a table over there filled with Coke and popcorn. And I'm saying, I'm going in, but I'm not going to get a Coke and a popcorn. Well, it turns out that that week and the next couple of weeks, it's about Christ being in the movies. And that night, it was about the Jesus Revolution, right? So it felt right in. It was a great service. Yeah. The minister was great. And we're supporting our granddaughter. She's going to church, right? So we tell that story to her parents, and her dad says, well, her story was, we get there, and she looks over there, and she goes, oh, no.
They got popcorn.
And it's funny because on Grandma Grandpa Camp, they all come with us no matter what, and we go to Mass together. And I remember when she was very little, and after church was over, after Mass was over, and we were visiting, and she said, the only thing that's the same between your church and my church is the word church. But, she follows her faith. She's very active in her faith, and that's all you can ask.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
You're very involved in your faith. What are you doing to stay busy in the church and the parish life?
Oh, gee. Well, one, we're in the Empty Nesters group.
That's real?
That's
it's
real.
Not just a feeling?
No.
Okay.
And then
how does an Empty Nesters group exist?
Well, first you have to get rid of all of your kids.
No, just like
Not kill them or anything. They just leave home
no, I figured.
for good. Okay.
No, I just love that image of it's an empty nest.
It's a paradox.
And so we have a whole group of people.
Look at all these people in this emptiness.
When we first joined the Empty Nesters, our daughter said, "Are you guys depressed?" We said, "No, that's
We
not
never
how it
talk about
works."
you.
We have champagne all the time.
Exactly. And then I'm a Eucharistic minister, and then we've been involved in a lot of different ministries, Knights of Columbus, and then
What's
we've been
your
involved
home
in
parish?
All Saints.
Oh, I met you at All Saints.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You did.
Understanding why the rule "no parents allowed" might be the secret sauce to stronger generational bonds. That is the BeatiDudes. You want that, whether it be full conversations or ones you might have missed. Easy to find at Podcast Central, EWTN.com/podcast, or search for BeatiDudes wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Ace McKay. When we, of course, return with Catholics Coast to Coast, going to hang out with the cast from Honest to God as they are helping us to reminisce about a little bit of a movie that you might get ready to see that is in theaters now. And it's, of course, about Maximillian Kolbe. And we can find out more about this saint and insights on this incredible movie, which we will do next when Catholics Coast to Coast returns.
If it's central to the faith, you can find it on EWTN Podcast Central, featuring the best of EWTN radio, as well as faith-filled podcasts from our friends and affiliates across the nation, all in one place, all free. The destination for great Catholic audio programming is EWTN Podcast Central. It's like podcast heaven. Visit EWTN.com/radio/podcasts today.
Hi, this is Nick. Today on Honest to God, we discuss the life and faith journey of St. Maximilian Kolbe. Find out about two filmmakers' pilgrimage to Poland to tell the story of the inspirational saint. Join our panel as they discuss the personal connection to St. Maximilian Kolbe, his story, and the international cast and crew involved in the production of this movie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, super pumped to be here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Honest to God on AM 1160 The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. Got a good show today. Feeling good about the show.
It's going to be a good one, I think. Yeah.
I'm pumped to be here.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna fly through some fun facts, and then I want to talk about all things Maximilian Kolbe and Poland and all that stuff. So you want to lead us off with 3 fun facts?
Sure, can do. So first fun fact, when I was 18 years old, I fell 30 feet to the ground and survived.
Story to that?
There is a further story to that. Do you want me to
just
give
a little
you the
bit.
short version?
I'm interested.
Yeah. So I was working at a camp, and one of my responsibilities was to help run the zip line.
Sure.
And it was at the end of like a little challenge course, like they had high ropes course. And so I'm up there one day. It was the end of the summer. It was like the last day I could have possibly been there. And I'm sitting up on the platform. I've sent maybe 4 or 5 kids down. It's about 4 p.m., getting ready to end the day. So I clear all the stuff off the platform and I clip myself in. We had gotten into the habit, some of us, of doing this thing where you'd clip into the back of the harness. There was a weight-bearing loop back there, so it should have been fine. I had done it myself 4 or 5 times at least. And so I clip into the back, I call down to the end to make sure they know I'm coming, step off, and as you do this, it's the Superman. That's what they call it. You just kind of spread your arms and fall face first off the platform. Oof. Nothing like it. Exhilarating. But this time, I go off, and right as your weight comes on the line, it's real steep at first, and then it kind of hits a low there, gets you up to speed. And I hit that point, and I hear a snap.
Oh.
And I'm just like, well, that's not supposed to happen. And I black out, wake up on the ground. And
thank goodness you woke up at all.
Yeah,
That's wild.
no, seriously. It was ride to the hospital, everything. A lot of good surgeons who were able to take care of me.
What was the damage?
I almost blew my heart up.
Great.
And I broke my arm.
So awful. Right.
So nice surgery scar
cool.
there.
Yeah. Chicks dig scars.
That's right. Yeah, you should see the guy who did this to me. He's still in the hospital. But I was very well taken care of after that. God took care of me there. My dad kept joking that I must have crushed my guardian angel flat.
Right.
But yeah, no.
But other than a broken arm and a
pseudoaneurysm in the heart, and it was all fixed up.
I mean,
like
all
10
things
days.
Considered, that sounds like a pretty good outcome.
It was the best outcome I could have asked.
Yeah.
Reason 486 not to go for zipline.
Wait, okay, yeah, I actually had that question. Did the zip line break or the harness?
So it's kind of not clear still.
Okay.
It looked like they had to cut the harness off me afterwards, so it wasn't entirely clear whether some part of the harness failed because they'd already cut it apart. Most likely what had happened was that I was clipped into something that was not the harness.
Got you.
Maybe a belt loop or something, but it was hard to tell.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You see, John Henry, the investigation is on a list with the federal government, and they just haven't gotten to him yet.
Got you.
Yeah, they haven't gotten to it yet. No.
It's not something super important like, I don't know, parents who protest school board meetings or
Right,
something
right,
like that.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
The things that we got to imprison them.
It keeps moving
right
down
now.
on the priority list.
That's fair. Somebody could be misgendering someone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's still going to count as one, but that was a really good one. That was a really
so
good one.
that's one. The second one, I have two kind of indirect personal connections to the saint who's the subject of this podcast.
Okay.
So I'll just get into those later when we're in the middle of
Cool.
it.
Sure.
As it comes up. And then the third one is an interesting theology fact I learned recently. I'd always been curious about this. So you know how in the Book of Wisdom and the other wisdom books, wisdom is personified as a she, right? Send me your holy wisdom from your throne. And I was reading a book recently, actually this book, The Light of Christ, Father Thomas Joseph White, in a philosophy
That's a really
reading
good
group.
plug.
And
I had no idea that was in
it's
your
good.
lap.
Yeah, it's good. And he's talking about Jesus being the wisdom which proceeds from the Father. So the fact that the wisdom who is personified in the Book of Wisdom as a she is yet Jesus Christ, who we know came as a man,
Right.
I think is really interesting. And it kind of points at the fact that God is so far transcending our conceptions
Gotcha.
of gender and how humanity works. He's so far beyond that.
Right. And just for the record, to clarify, I know you're not saying this, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. He's not saying that God is hermaphroditic or something
That's
like
right.
that. He said,
That's right.
Yeah, very good.
Beyond,
Jesus Christ
yeah.
was a dude. Yeah.
Came as a man.
That's awesome. What's the book one more time?
This is Father Thomas Joseph White, The Light of Christ.
Nice.
Yeah, very good stuff.
Cool. I like
Total
it.
synthesis of the Catholic.
And you don't get paid at all for that
No,
plug?
not at all. I just
Not
think
yet.
it's a good book. Not yet.
I like it. All right, Benji, that was pretty solid, man.
Yeah.
Like I do a lot of
All right.
ranking or a lot of judging other people's fun fact. That might be the best fun fact since the girl who always wore her socks inside out, which blew my mind.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that weird?
That's got to
Come
be
on, that's weird, right?
uncomfortable.
That's what I said. She said, no, it is actually more comfortable. And she's a liar because I tried it once.
And you're like, no,
I was
this
like,
is,
no.
yeah.
You should do your fun facts in your English accent.
No.
He has the most natural sounding English accent. Like
That
it's
was like a
not
thing on
that over.
set.
It's like he can talk to people. If he came in here speaking in English, you would think he was from London or something because it's like really just.
If I did it back with you, like we did it back and forth, I would sound like a bigoted stereotype, like the most cockney, and I would genuinely try to do it, but I'm just terrible with accents.
That's hilarious. That's going to be hard to follow up. Let's see. So first fact, something about me. My dad, my name is Benjamin. My dad originally was going to name me Benjamin Franklin Suarez.
Whoa.
And so, yeah. And so, because growing up, like, people would always say, like, Benjamin Franklin, right? Like, kind of as a little joke. But it wasn't just a joke. Like, it was going to be official at one point.
Is your dad just a big fan of Benjamin Franklin?
He loves the founding fathers. But like, the funnier thing is his brothers are named like ironically after like some of the founding fathers too. Like I have a uncle named George, right? And I have another uncle named like Alexander. And so it's like it's kind of like this like ironic thing. But
wait, so those are your uncles. So your granddad also liked the founding father thing?
No, that was just by complete accident.
Oh, I see.
So yeah. And then my dad is named Benjamin also. So like. Crazy.
I dig that. I think that's neat.
Right.
Yeah.
Second fact.
Benjamin Franklin's a friend of the show. We're a big fan of the founding fathers.
Oh yeah.
He's going to be on after Jeff Goldblum. Next week. Yeah. It's gonna be great.
Oh, wow. No,
Yeah, stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe or you won't be able to see it. You have to comment 100 times. And then you'll see our exclusive interview with Benjamin Franklin, who died in the 1700s. Yeah, it's wild. It'll blow your mind.
And then we will send you an email with the link.
Yep, we
of
will.
the video.
Second fun fact, the word for tomato in Italian, pomodoro, comes from the, basically, it means like fruit of gold or apple of gold, because when the Italians came to the New World, tomatoes weren't in the old world.
Right.
And so they used to have like a goldish kind of yellow color. And so when they brought it back, it was pomo de oro. And it's been pomodoro now.
And
So,
the translation is golden apple?
golden apple, something like that.
Yeah. That's right, Italians. Yeah, let's take a minute to throw some shade at the Europeans. Potatoes, tomatoes, melons, right? Like all melons?
Missing out on all
I think
of
so.
it.
Citrus fruit. There's a ton of them. That was all us. You're welcome. I mean, I wasn't here. I didn't have anything to do with it. But I was smart enough to come over here where all this cool stuff was. And I'm pretty sure, like corn, I know corn was us. This is the New World. It was just like everybody only ate like sheep and cabbage in Europe. That's a fact.
That's a sad existence.
Yeah. I had an argument with somebody the other day because we were up in Washington, D.C., and it was snowing. They were talking about how pretty it was. And I was talking about how much I hate snow. I don't like snow. And they said, that's ridiculous. And it is. I'm kind of just being contrarian too a little bit. But I said my ancestors left Europe and some frozen hellscape over there in Northern Europe and moved here. And I would feel like I was spitting in my ancestors' faces if I embraced snow. They moved to Georgia. Snows twice a year. So big shout out to John Robert Spann in 1590 who came over and settled in Virginia. He was a smart guy.
Yeah.
He's actually an Anglican priest, I think. We did the whole ancestry thing. It's interesting. Yeah. It's
cool.
All right, I'm sorry. I didn't do that.
Your fun fact.
Yeah. All that came from tomatoes.
Let's see. Third fun fact. In Polish, the word for like cool, like if you want to see something's cool, is spoko. So like basically, like Polish is really hard. And so like on set, like I would like just try to like use that as much as possible in like any context.
What
right?
is it?
Spoko. Like cool. If like something's like cool.
With an O at the end, not an L. Spoko.
Spoko. Yeah. So like if I'd be like, if something would be going wrong, I'd be like, nie bardzo spoko. Like I'd be like, not cool, bro. And I just use that in like any context. Cause like it's a hard language. So like, yeah. Spoko.
That's cool. All right, I like that. I like that. All right, Patrick, you just owe us one, man, so make it good.
Yeah, what's it called? So actually on my flight back from Poland, I rewatched the whole trilogy of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, the original.
And it's actually has really great and deeply like rooted symbolism. Whoa. And like it's actually a pretty deep film. Thing. So it's like and what's funny is like it has like this mythological trajectory, and then the last film I saw with when they had to look for the Fountain of Youth and stuff, it ended with the Spanish conquistadors crushing it and saying,
"Good guy."
Yeah, and crushed it and said, "No more with this like pagan worship. Like Christ is king." And it was like a perfect ending to like that whole trilogy thing, and it was just like really based. Like,
my favorite genre of film is films where Catholics are the bad guys, but they're actually the good guys if you think about it. Right. There was I was literally going to bring up that point from the third one, how they're the whole time it's like the pirates versus the British. Oh no, the Spanish, let's work together. But there are so many movies. I remember watching, it was some Queen Elizabeth biopic or something. And I think it was Elizabeth's golden years. And the Spanish are the bad guys. The whole story is about the Spanish Armada. And there's this scene, and it's supposed to be the bad guys, and they're unfurling the masts on their giant warships. Yeah. And it's a huge crucifix. And I'm so amped. I know how the Spanish, I know how that ends, but I'm like, maybe this time, maybe we're gonna get them. Maybe we can land there. I was just saying this the other show, and so I'll make it really quick, but we got an anti-Catholic pamphlet on our car. Basically, the other day we've got a big picture of our mother or Our Lady on the back and all this stuff. And it was talking about how the Catholic Church was bad, and we valued like the Vatican and our like the Catholics over everyone else, and so that we were the true church, and it was all these things. And I read it with my kids, and at the end I said, my kids are 11 and younger, but we like talked about it and kind of laughed about it and talked about, these misperceptions. But then I said, be the Catholic that these people think you are. Be them. Yeah, that's cool. Please let us actually be that cool and bad and dedicated to our faith and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, we don't have a lot of time. All right, we're flying here. George, do you have a quick fun fact?
I can give you a quick fun fact since we're talking about saints, and one of my favorite saints is Saint Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
My wife and I said we. My wife is the grand producer of my life, next to the Lord, of course. But we share our anniversary with her canonization date. Not the day we were married, but September 4th is our wedding anniversary. So it was our 6th wedding anniversary that she became a saint.
She's another friend of the show.
And we were all together actually with her family and just a bunch of people, and it was just a beautiful time. And then all of a sudden she became a saint.
Wow.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So speaking of Mother Teresa who was canonized. Someone else was canonized.
Somebody else was.
Do you know who?
There's a lot of people.
His name was
canonized.
Maximillian Kolbe. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I went to school for segways, Harvard School for segways. So that's why that was so smooth.
Yale's
Spoke
better.
on.
Yeah.
So I really want to dig into this. I want to talk about like what was the inspiration for the film. I have so many questions. I would love for you just to kind of start with what you did and why you did it.
Yeah, so I was involved. I was part of the crew. So I was first AC, which is a first camera assistant. My role was to basically, it's called capture follow focus. So when the camera is flying around and moving, I just made sure that everything in the shot was in focus and nothing ever that didn't need to be out of focus wasn't, right? So that was my role. And then secondary role was I was a second camera operator. So anytime they needed 2 cameras to run on a particular scene, I would operate the second camera. And obviously, being that this was in comparatively to looking at other films, like a low budget film, we all did a little bit of everything, right? Yeah. So we had like our official credited roles, but we all helped in all different types of departments just to make sure this movie happened. So, I mean, my second language is Polish, so I helped with producers. Sometimes if someone didn't speak English or something, no other Polish person was available, help with making calls and stuff like that. Right. So all of us did a little bit of everything on there specifically.
What was your role, Benji?
I was gaffer. So that's basically like the person in charge of like lighting and getting like electricity to all the departments and stuff like that. But like he was saying, we were all like bouncing around, like at times like different departments. And so like at some times like I was helping with like camera, like swapping batteries, right? Or like helping them with like their rig and stuff like that. And yeah, so like we were all kind of doing like multiple roles.
And how did you guys get on board with this whole production?
Yeah, so shout out to Kathleen. Actually, Anthony reached out to her because she used to work in film, and she didn't want to be involved with film anymore, and so she just immediately was like, just reach out to Patrick.
Right.
And so I connected with Anthony, and at the time he was still kind of in the phase of.
Is Anthony a producer? Or is he?
He's the director and writer of the film.
Oh,
so his name is Anthony D'Ambroso, and I got to talk to him here and learn a little bit of the project. And at one point he was thinking about shooting it in Atlanta because he heard about the tax credits and stuff like that. And but at the end, obviously, it didn't work out. He felt that the best thing to do, especially trying to keep it as realistic as possible, like if we was looking for particular architecture and stuff, it would just be easier to find that in Poland and just shoot it there.
Obviously, the right answer, right?
So like
shoot in Poland.
And then the other benefit was he with the budget he was able to get for the principal photography, he was able to go a lot further with his budget there than he would here, right? So. So I basically was, when Anthony came here to visit, he also did some like pitching to certain people to try to find more people that initially before he started production to gauge interest and see if we can get any more funding and stuff. Also do like minor location scouting and stuff. At some point he reached out to me and said he would love to have me to be part of the crew of the film, in the camera department. And, so I said yes. And then, I saw a post that they were looking on Instagram for more people to help, right, on the set. So I met Benji a few months before I met Anthony, where I learned he worked in film too. And then Benji also helped me on one of my shorts. And so Benji was like immediately popped in my head. And so I reached out to Benji and I was like, hey, they're looking for more crew members. Like just reach out to them, see if you can get on this. And so that's how Benji got on the project.
And I'm sorry, we should have opened with this, but what's the name of the film?
Triumph of the Heart.
Triumph of the Heart.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's a take. So basically, most of the ideologies and stuff came from kind of for the Nazis was triumph of the will, and so this is kind of like the heart winning that, the heart ended up winning. It wasn't the will; it was the heart that won, right? So that's take
great on
that.
And what is the film a biopic on Maximillian Kolbe, or is it just his time in Auschwitz, or?
I feel like it's a very unique way, like the way the movie's set up. It's not like your traditional like biopic of like from start to finish. Like it kind of bounces around a bit, but the story really starts, because everybody knows, I guess, the end, right, of St. Maximilian Kolbe, like him stepping out of line and giving his life for the other prisoner. But that's really where the story begins. And so the movie is really about the time in the cell with the 9 other men. And I don't know, I don't want to give away too much, but there is like, they do go into like his past and like the amazing things that he did in his life.
There's like short flashback scenes. So
that's cool, because I knew nothing about Maximillian Kolbe before he's in camp and says, "No, take me instead."
Yeah. So to give a little bit of pretext, Anthony would obviously be better to speak on this, but from what I've learned from him is he basically went through. He grew up with a family that was very theologically like sound, right? So his father is a professional like theological professor. His mom, I think, does something within youth ministry or like theology also. So there was no shortage as far as like intellectualism about the faith in his household.
Right.
He even went into seminary at some point, but through different events in his life, he had like a falling away from the faith. And so everybody was trying to explain his predicament and stuff through an intellectualism. And that didn't necessarily work for him to bring him back to God, you can say. And so he learned about St. Maximillian Kolbe, and he felt like he was in a dark cell. So meditated upon Kolbe, he felt like he was in there together with him, and it got him thinking like, I'm in this dark place, and clearly was so this other man. Like, how was he able to still keep the faith, and on top of that, give hope to the 9 other men in there with him when they were facing death.
Right.
And he not even just dying, but ended up to some extent thriving in there, like within context of faith. So that gave him a realization that there's also something very human about us that's beyond just the intellectual of like quoting St. Thomas Aquinas, like Summa or anything like that. Like sometimes we just want someone to listen to us or give us a hug. So that's kind of where it comes, from to some extent of like that background. So it doesn't focus as much on like specific facts or details as much as kind of like an experience of being in that cell with Kolbe.
I feel like as Catholics, and I don't think this is an actual heresy, but I'll call it a heresy. It's really tempting to fall into a heresy of intellectualism because the church is right and I can just about prove it, right? I mean, and that's a good thing, but it can be dangerous because I've gotten into this. I've alluded to this a little bit before on the show, but my whole conversion initially was a total conversion of the mind for the sake of pride and the fact that this was interesting and people around me weren't like this, but I could beat them in arguments and I could understand. And I got really into the philosophy and the theology of it without any of the heart stuff, right? Without any actual connection, any real relationship with our Lord. And that's so lame, man. You have these guys who their whole personality becomes like Catholic nerds. Like there's a place for it.
I'm an apologist. But you can't be just an apologist.
Right, exactly. If your goal boils down to like, I can beat all the pop atheist losers in debates, like
then as you're saying, it's just about pride.
Yeah, exactly. But it's all turning it back in on you. Instead of turning outwards of yourself, which is what we're called to do, especially as men, but as human beings, right? It's just back on me. And the fact that we have that intellectual tradition is a huge blessing and can be super dangerous. I'm almost envious sometimes of the Baptists or the non-denominational Christians who will just go off on their love for Jesus, and you just need to accept Jesus because you know what, at the end of the day, you really do just need to accept Jesus like that. And I mean, obviously I'm not downplaying the sacraments or anything like that, but from an intellectual standpoint, what you really need is to understand that Christ died for you and he loves you and he wants you to be with him eternally. And that is a feeling thing. You can't intellectualize that.
Right.
So that's cool.
Yeah. And what was beautiful about being on that crew, I think maybe Benji can speak to this more also, was Anthony also made sure that while we were working on this film, that we were all kind of participating and meditating upon the story as we are working on it. Right. And so, obviously the 10 actors that were in the cell, you kind of have to put yourself in that space. You hear the stories of like people playing the Joker or whatever caused them to go into depression and stuff. So it's like kind of a similar thing. Like they had to go certain dark places and kind of like act that out. And so he wanted to make sure that they weren't alone in going through that, and made sure that the crew to some extent was also meditating upon that, understanding why we were there.
Right.
And so anytime an actor or somebody was going through something, even if it was like something outside of the film, just like in their own personal lives. We're all there available to kind of like talk to each other. So to some extent, I say that this was almost more of a pilgrimage than it was just work, because we were all kind of like meditating and walking the footsteps to some extent of Kolbe and those Auschwitz prisoners while we were working on this film.
Great movie insights for Maximillian Kolbe as we find out more in Triumph of the Heart. You can, of course, find out more on this episode as you go to Podcast Central, EWTN.com/podcast, and, of course, subscribe to Honest to God wherever you stream. And I'm Ace McKay, going to bail out, but enjoy the rest of your weekend. And remember to be comfortable in your own skin. Let God define who you are, and I'll see you again with Catholics Coast to Coast.